living? Am I the God I'm supposed to be?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
How do I function? Whatever challenges me, I keep my center, wear my crown, but still heart keeps life going round.
Hesitate to be a friend. I am always forgiving, no complaining and no fear. Incorruptible, indestructible. I am also.
Oh yeah, he needs to smile.
Hey, beautiful people, welcome to the new Kemet Theater. We've come here today to celebrate our life. Do you know what it is to be an embodied God? Come on, celebrate with us today. Get out that seat, move your body. We love you. Be a soul clap.
How am I living? Am I the God I'm supposed to be?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
How do I function? Whatever challenges me, I keep my center, wear my crown, but still heart keeps life going round.
I am the light that shines at the end. I'll reach out my hand, never hesitate to be a friend. I am always forgiving, no complaining and no fear. Incorruptible, indestructible. I am also.
Oh yeah, he needs to smile.
Hey, beautiful people, welcome to the new Kemet Theater. We've come here today to celebrate our life.
All right, all right.
Be an embodied God. Come on, celebrate
Peace
with
and
us
blessings,
today.
everybody.
Move your body. We love you. Be a soul
Give you a
clap.
little taste of what happened this weekend.
How am I living?
StreamYard can't take a big file, so
Am I the God
just a little
I'm
taste.
supposed to
Yes, you
be?
are.
And we are in the going live on Instagram. Let's get that going.
I keep my center, wear my crown, but still heart keeps life going round.
I am the light that shines at the end. I'll reach out my hand, never hesitate to be a friend. I am always.
All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Etepu, welcome. And welcome back.
Hey, beautiful people, welcome to the new
Oops.
Kemet Theater. We've come here today to celebrate our life. Do you know what it is to be an embodied God?
How are you? Etepu. Peace and blessings, everyone. This is Orwa M. Tahuti Kamo from Philadelphia. I want to welcome you to this historic occasion, this powerful program that is being released. We're just about 3 minutes after the hour, and we're going to be mindful to get started. So I first want to greet everyone. So let's see here. If you are a first time visitor to Comedic Legacy. If this is your first time, I want you to put a 1 in the chat so we can greet you properly. I see we have a bunch of people online. As you might have seen from your email, we have over 1,200 people registered today, only 1,000 seats in the webinar room. So if any of your friends text you and say, I'm trying to get in, I can't get in, send them to our YouTube channel where they can watch it. So let's see who we have here. Put a 1 in the chat for us if you are brand new. Oh, this is great. Wow. Exciting. My goodness. We have, and put your location. Where you at? Queen Sheila's in the house. First time with Comedic Legacy. And we have Carlanda Allen. Welcome. Seven Best is here. Michael Henry. What's going on, Michael Henry? Lillian is here. Carisha, Sherelle Allen, A Lovely. All right. Joy Slaughter, Seven Best. Let's see. Jasmine and Kessica, Tawana, Taryn, all first time with us. Maj Hewitt, Iade Oshun, welcome. Oshun is right on time. And we have Kalilia, Randy, Sherry, David, Candace, Daniel, Monica, Cynthia, Kimberly, Jan, Sharon, Carol, Vera, Harit, Jillian, Amir, Hayes is here, Cassandra's here, Akeem is here, Alvin, Ray, Brandon, Mickey, Harold. I don't know if we're going to have time to go through everybody. Ruvimbo, Ndanga, welcome. Chan Cooper Williams is here. Virgil Folami is here. First time. William, Ebony, Monica, Carisha, Crystal, and Sasenbi. Keith is here. Carola Castro is in the house. Candace Williams. Looks like me. Mikkel, Jean. Wow, this is firing me up. Samara, Luella, Janice, Xavier, Beverly, Joya. Where y'all been? We've been waiting for you. Cassandra's here. Everybody here. Oh, we got Honduras in the house. Indiana's in the house. Apple Valley, California. Houston, Texas. Savannah, Georgia. London, UK. You don't want to put 3 Ks in there. That's okay, Maj. That's a trigger here in the U.S. Jasmine is here from New York City. Philadelphia's in the house. Florida's in the house. Rwanda is in the house. New Jersey and Chicago. Oh, we up in Canada. We've got Philly. DC is in the house. Washington, D.C. and Atlanta, Georgia. We got more California, Los Angeles. Philly, of course, Mr. Lumumba's here. Verlene Walker, welcome. It's your very first time. We're so excited to see you. Happy that you're going to meet Ra Un Nefer Amen, Shechem of the Ausar Auset Society, founder of Comedic Legacy, and the master teacher who's going to be conducting these powerful meditations now. Every month, we're going to have a Comedic guided group meditation for you to participate in. We've got at the post office in O'Hare, Illinois. You don't want to put that out publicly now. I think that's a government agency. Jacksonville, Florida is in the house. Charlotte, North Carolina, Madison, Wisconsin. We got Denver in the house. Suriname's in the house. From the South side for real. South America. TNT is in the house. Everybody's a TNT or a wannabe TNT. And we got more in Chicago and DC. All right, Candace, first time with us. Oakland, California, inside of the pyramid. Okay, we got to get some insight into that. Detroit is in the house. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And it goes on and on. Queens. Yes, Queens is in the house. Seattle, Washington. The Boogie Down Bronx is in the house. Okay, I see you as Ezekiel Kemet's in the house. And the Berg, the Iron Steel City. Pittsburgh is here. Dayton, Ohio is in the house. And we got Arizona. Okay, beautiful. Yes, that's right, Atukwe. Everybody needs to hit that like button. on our YouTube channel. We appreciate that. We've got San Francisco Bay Area, Brooklyn. Where's Brooklyn at? Always in the house. Newark, New Jersey, Stockton, California. We got Colorado, Maryland's in the house. This is beautiful. So we are here from all over the country, some places in the world. And right now, I just want to introduce you to the man who's made all of this possible, who has changed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people through his incredible, unparalleled publications. I'm talking about the Neteru series, volumes 1. That's right. Got to have it. Got to have it. Volumes 1 through 7 so far. He's also the author of Ma'at, the 11 Laws of God. He's the author of some 40 other books on everything, every subject from Bazi, Taoist psychology, to Qigong, to homeopathy, to relationships. Prolific author, lecturer, and a powerful, powerful leader of our time. He is in his 51st year of serving our community in particular and in the world, and serving the world, bringing back the ancient wisdom of our founding ancestors from Kemet, from Indus Kush. Yes, light on Kundalini Yoga. He's the one that revealed to many of us for the first time there's not 7 chakras, there's 14 chakras, and how they all interact together into a unified system. He has been lecturing on a pretty much a weekly basis for the last 51 years. Most of that is completely free to the community. And now he has created a company called Comedic Legacy, through which we can deliver this powerful understanding to change people's lives, to promote your healing, to promote your excellence in your personal development, and to promote your success in all of your enterprises, which he has done by personal example. So I'm talking about none other than Ra Un Nefer Amen. We refer to him as Shechem or Shechem. That's the ancient Kemetic or Egyptian title for the leader of the nation. So let me bring to the stage right now His Majesty Shechem or Shechem, Ra Un Nefer Amen.
Okay, my brother, how you doing?
I'm kind of fired up tonight, Shechem Shechem. We've been waiting for this for a long time. It's been so many years. So many people have been blessed by these powerful meditations, these Kemetic guided meditations. And we're happy to be able to share this with the world. So we greet you in the tradition of our great ancestors. We say, Anech Harak, peace and blessings of power to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Peace and power to and blessings to all of you. So what's up, everyone? How are we doing today? Or this evening, I should say. So let me begin by explaining what is the Paut Neteru. The word Paut is a collection of things. And in this case, it is a tree-like, collection, where we organize things in a tree-like fashion. Yes, meaning with different branches. And so we have a hierarchy and relationship between things. And it has to do with the parts of the spirit, meaning that your spirit is composed of 11 major faculties, which go on to be broken down into other faculties, subsystems, and so on. But your spirit is composed of 11 major faculties. You see that? And one of them, the 11th one, once it matures, becomes the 12th faculty. But let us keep it simple. 11 faculties. And the faculties of the spirit together make up this, what is later on became to be known as the 10 spheres or the 11 spheres of the tree of life. So when you hear Paut Neteru, we're talking about the ancestor of the tree of life. And when we get into the Kemetic literature, we find that there's just not one tree of life. There are many other trees, many other aspects of the spirit that has been organized hierarchically, associatively, and so forth. So the spirit, okay, when we say the spirit, we have to understand that the spirit is a body, a vehicle, one of your major vehicle that it transforms itself, modifies itself into 11 basic faculties, which, individually and together, they are in charge of various aspects of your life. Like the Amen part of your spirit is called Amen Neter. It's responsible for your innate ability to be at peace and connects you to the most primordial state of energy of your spirit. The Ausar corresponds to the part of your spirit that enables you to manifest your oneness with God and your oneness with all people and all, events in this world. The Tehute faculty of the spirit is a nature that enables you to share in God's, unlimited wisdom for guidance and so on. Okay, I'm not going to take the time to go through all the 11 faculties because I just want to give you, a bird's eye view of the system. You see that? So why a monthly meditations? Meaning that the 11 part of these spirits, some, are their functions are duplicated so that the 11 faculties of the spirit, are in charge of regulating your mind, your psyche, your physical body. You see that? And to understand these parts of the spirit, we have to update you on the other names that other culture have given to this neter or this neteru. You see, it is what in other traditions are called devas or angels or archangels. It is what today are called, psychological faculties. So when we speak about the amygdala, and the different parts of the brain responsible for certain behaviors and functions, the ancients call them neter, and in other traditions, angels, and so on. It's important for you to make these correlations because people dismiss the ancient teachings, as the mussing or musing of people who were backwards or whatever, and so on, worshiping, spirits and so on. No, they were cultivating faculties. You see that? And today we have the knowledge that the faculties of the spirit tie in with parts of your brain, psychological functions, bodily functions, neurotransmitters and hormones and things of that nature. So if you want to benefit from not only contemporary science, but you also want to benefit from ancient science, you have to, stop, pushing down the elders, the older cultures as being, not up to date in their thinking and their, backwards and things of that nature. Correlate them with Western, and contemporary sciences and so on. So the different parts of the spirits, alternately become energized, meaning that in this month here, for example, the part of the spirit that we call Heru, you see, it becomes energized. You see that? And once it becomes energized, it is able to increase, its output, its functions. The Heru part of the spirit, which is what we're going to work, is what we're going to work on this month here, is responsible for your imagination, for your artistic and creative abilities. It's responsible for your ability to summon your life force and connect it with your thoughts and your desires, you see, and your interests to bring another higher level, a higher dimension of forces to achieve your goals, meaning that enables you to go beyond, your physical and social limitations to achieve your goals. You see that? So each month, a different nature and different part of your spirit comes to the ascendancy. Its energy is increased. And so you meditate to harness this power, these forces at the right time. You see that to enhance yourself. The Heru faculty is connected, you will find, to what people call, the law of attraction, meaning your ability to attract to your person resources, to attract to your person opportunities, to attract to your person, the assistance that you need to achieve your goals. The imagination properly energized. Let me begin by saying the imagination properly organized, energized, will bring to you the resources that transcend, you see, what you have available in the physical world. Let me give you an example. You want to start a new business and you have no capital. You have no means of getting capital. You do not, meet the requirements to get a loan from the bank, and you don't want to go the way of shysters, that sharks or whatever, that will lend you, 10,000 and make you pay back 100,000. So if you uplift the power of your imagination, meaning your Heru faculty, don't forget that when we call a faculty imagination, we are just simply talking about one of maybe 50 functions of a faculty. So when I say to you Heru and imagination, this faculty goes beyond imagination. The word imagination, according to some esotericists, is tied into the word magic. Because when you increase the power of what you call your imaginative function, your abilities, your imagination is able to summon energy. Like if you visualize something, okay, or a dish, your favorite dish, you might even taste it. You might smell it in your imagination and get hungry and start to salivate and things of that nature. If you visualize having the money that you need, adding to it certain spiritual observances, just not visualizing getting something, but observing certain things that go along with the power of that faculty within you, you will attract to yourself the money that you need, if it's in your destiny. You see that? So, but you can make it happen. That's the point. And that's why religion and spirituality has been around for thousands and thousands of years. You see that? Because people, when they are down, as far as the physical environment is concerned, they learned that they could, you see, focus on certain energy, like sounds that we call hekau or mantras, special sounds, vibration that awaken powers in the brain, in the spirit, in the psyche. You see that? And observing the laws that governs these faculties, they were able to improve their lives, meaning you're not limited to physical resources to achieve your goal. You see that? So these 11 faculties of your spirit are the sources of intuitive guidance. They're the sources of powers that go beyond your physical abilities, your social abilities. You see? They assist you. And unfortunately, lots of people have moved away from this knowledge, you see, and that is why there is so much impotence in this world and so much anxiety and depression, because people find themselves not having the means to achieve their goals, so they fall into depression and impotence and whatever have you. So once to recapitulate here, the Paut Neteru is what has come down to the world as the tree of life, you see? And it is a source of talents and intuitive guidance, you see? And it works, these faculties work together from within your mind, your psyche, and your spirit to enhance your survival, your success, your wellness. You see that? Provided that you invigorate them and harness their energies every month. This month it is the Heru faculty. Next month it is the Heru Kohuti faculty. Energize, it helps you to receive justice. You learn to give justice and live in a just manner. And in that way, you attract justice to yourself. You'll find many of us find ourselves in situations where people are unjust with us. They do wrong things, defamation, robbery, assault, and so on. And you can rectify the score. You can rectify the situation by increasing the faculty that governs justice, or as the yogic tradition calls karma. You have control. People say, "Oh, that's your karma," not understanding that you have control over your karma. You see that? So this month, the faculty we call Heru that governs your creativity, that governs your ability to visualize, what you need in life, and with the right observances, be successful in realizing your goals. You see that? Heru, let's break down the name of that neter, that so-called angel, that part of your brain, okay, that is responsible for, your artistic creativity. You see, for the power behind your will. We're going to explain that soon. Okay, all right. This part of your brain, Heru means house. In the Kabbalah language, Het is the house, and Heru is the faculty of the will. Okay, the will. And when you're not able to manifest your will, people says, "Oh, your will is weak." The thing is that strength is not a property of the will. Okay, the purpose of the will is simply to declare what you want to achieve. I will for so and so to happen. That act of willing does not have its own empowering, faculty. Meaning it's like the Supreme Court of America. They pass the law, but they don't have the power to put you in jail. You see that? Meaning that you can will, meaning declare an intention to achieve a goal, okay? But that intention doesn't have an energy behind it. It's just simply a potential. So an act of will is a potential, declaration of a potential that you want to manifest something in your life. The energy that's going to bring it is the energy that you call passion, the energy that you call joy, that you call happiness. Meaning that if you learn to maintain yourself in a joyful state, if you learn to maintain yourself in a passionate, state in regards to what you want to achieve, okay, this energy of passion and desire and joy, happiness will energize your intention. And when we look around our lives and the lives of other people, we find that most people do not know how to energize their intentions. They don't know how to be joyful at will. Okay? Listen, somebody should be able to walk up to you and say, "Okay, I want you to get into a genuine, joyful, mood and stay in it for the next 6 months." And you will say, "Well, that's not, joy is an involuntary thing. Joy is something that happens to you." You see that? As a result of you getting something, in other words, if I realize my intention, then I will be joyful. You see that? But that's the biggest lie. Concerning your spirit and concerning your spirituality. You see, you don't, from a spiritual perspective, you do not wait to achieve your goal in order to be joyful. You manifest your joy and maintain yourself in a state of joy in order to realize your goal. Most of you don't realize your goal because you're not in a state of joy. You're waiting to achieve your goal to be joyful. That's the what they call the horse pushing the cart kind of a thing. You see, we live in a world that taught us to wait to achieve in order to be joyful, not knowing that joy is something you can summon at will. And this is one of the biggest teaching of spirituality. That's why Heru means the house of Heru, meaning that your will dwells in a house called Het, the God, the so-called goddess or angel you see, or nature of the imagination. Meaning that if I visualize myself enjoying achieving my goal, right? Let's say I want to start a business, and I'm able to meditate, and in that meditation state, I can live and relive, you see, the vision of starting my job. And when I'm out of trance, I can keep that, that image flowing in the back of my mind, as they say. If I'm able to do that, and believe me, you're able to do that. I've done it for over 50 years and taught many people to do it. You will find that that joyful, what you call joy, is nothing else but an energy that's flowing, right? When you're joyful, you're energized. It's a very positive energy that you're feeling. And what you have to do is to learn how to turn it on at will and put it to work. Meaning, joy is not something that you turn on when you go to a party, or when somebody says and does something nice for you, then it goes away, living from joy to pain. No, live from joy to joy. You see, that's one of the biggest secrets of spirituality. You see, let me explain to you something here. The psychologist science, the science of psychology and psychobiology has discovered that if you visualize yourself enjoying achieving something, your brain will secrete dopamine, a neurotransmitter that will put you in a state of joy. So if your diet and your lifestyle and your visualization, feeds you with a constant, supply of, a quest for joy, a desire to be joyful, to achieve beautiful things. If you stay in that state, your brain will secrete the chemicals, the neurotransmitters, dopamine, which will motivate you, energize you, and push your thoughts towards bringing to you the help that you need. That vision that you hold on to of seeing yourself enjoying achieving your goals. You haven't achieved it yet. You imagine yourself achieving your goals. That will make the dopamine flow. It will make the serotonin flow, which will calm you down, keep you in a very calm state, drive away the anxiety, which feeds the doubt. You see that serotonin will help you to meditate, go very low into the lower parts of your consciousness, the delta state of your brain, the theta state of your brain. You see, all of that you will turn on by visualizing your person, constantly visualizing your person, enjoying having the things that you want. Believe me, I've written over some 40 books and over 100 different meditation chants and things of that nature using this method, teaching people all around the world. You see that? And the people who have taken my teachings and my courses and apply my books, they will tell you, I'll speak to them, they'll tell you how to make their life better. You see that? I'm not here trying to sell you something, just trying to share something with you. You see? And it will begin to work very quickly as you begin to apply these teachings in your life. You see that? Psychobiologists have found that if you are kind or visualize a person being kind to somebody else, listen carefully, visualizing being kind in a genuine manner to somebody who's having a hard time would make your brain secrete oxytocin, dopamine, you follow what I'm saying, serotonin. And if the joy rises to a very high level, you will also get the opiates in your brain, not needing to do drugs or whatever. People who meditate, especially to joyful music, not the quiet type of meditation that has come from India to the United States and the Western world, but the kind of meditation that stayed in India, where people took out the drums and they danced themselves into trance. As in Africa and Asia, people dance their way into trance. In the Western world, I don't know what happened, but I don't know if it was the Beatles or whoever that brought sitting down quietly. But when they went to India, and Pakistan and all these other places, they saw people, drumming and dancing and chanting into the dhyana state, the samadhi state. So you have to embrace your cultural, horizon. You see that to include, you see, the rest of the world, their practices and their wisdom and so on. So Heru, Het house, Heru, the will. The house of the will, that's where your will should dwell. Your intention, the part of you that fulfills your intention, you see, is the part of you that, you see, invokes the power of the dopamine, chemical in your brain, the serotonin and things of that nature. Look it up, Google it. Don't take my word for it. Scientists have known this for almost some 60, 70 years now. And I don't know why they're not making it public. The truth is that the dopamine and the serotonin compete with certain, medications for, cognitive problems and so on. So I don't know if it's a money thing or what, just thinking here. So there's another name for the Heru faculty. You see, in other words, you say the Western culture says imagination, but the faculty through which you visualize, you say, the will dwells in that faculty and gets its energy from your passion. You see that? From your joy. But your passion, your joy, your motivation, your, energy, your desires come from visualizing your person enjoying. Meaning that the visualization of enjoying will transform itself to physical enjoyment. And then it will bring to you the things that you need to achieve your goals, the money, the people, the systems that you need, provided that you are doing what? That you're kind and caring to others. So we're putting a little formula together here, right? Visualize yourself achieving your goals, but then live your life being kind and caring to others. You see what I'm talking about here? Okay. All right. But you're going to meditate with a script. You need a script. You need certain affirmations that will keep, the process from being sabotaged by the years and years of doubting and not knowing that you have this power. So, you're not ready yet, at the close of this meeting here to do what I'm telling you to do. We're going to amplify this next week. We're going to meditate, you learn more and more about what you have to do and things of that nature. Another name for this imaginative faculty, this faculty for wellness, success, and health, is Nebt Het. Nebt Het. You see that? So the Nebt is the Kemetic name for the female lord of the house. So Nebt Het, another name for Heru, is the female lord of the house. Meaning the ruler of the house, meaning that the ruler of the house is a feminine energy. You see, Heru's image is a young woman, very beautiful, adorning herself with roses and so forth. That's not a worship thing. That's, if you study, brain psychology and so forth, you find a certain aromas, like a rose, you see, and, let's say, what's the other one here? Jasmine will help to put you in this combination of, motivational energy and calmness. You see? So Nebt Het is the Lord, the female lord of the house. Meaning that the house is what? The house of the spirit. And all the 11 faculties of your spirit are energized through visualization. You see that? Okay? There's another part of the puzzle, which is, vibration, sound vibration. Sound is the vibration of molecules. It's created by the vibration of molecules. So that when you vibrate certain molecules in your mind, in your head, You say ong or shring, or imamang, and so forth. When you vibrate certain sounds, it activates certain parts of your brain that are connected to the spiritual faculties you want to arouse. They call these mantras in the yogic tradition. We call it hekau in the Kemetic tradition. And every single, non-Western culture, have their science of mantras, have the science of, the energetic arousal through sound of the faculties of the brain, the psyche, spirit, and the body. So all of these different factors, the knowledge that visualizing yourself doing something in a joyful manner, achieving something in a joyful manner will make your brain secrete certain neurotransmitters and hormones, which will put you in a state of joy. And that energy that you feel that you call joy is what will energize your thoughts. This is different from the school of positive thinking that says that if you think positively, the positive thought will, attract to you, the thing that you want. This is very partially true. Because if I think that I can do something, do X, but I am, joyless, living a joyless life, due to many other, challenges, not connected to X, I'm not going to achieve my goal because that energy you call joy is your life force, what the Chinese call the Qi, what the Hindus call the Kundalini, what we in Kami call the Ra. You see? So that force, your life force, is what energizes your thoughts, your images to help you to realize your goal. You see? When you energize the thoughts, the verbal and the visual thoughts that are responsible for showing you in your mind what you need to do, what you need to get, and so on. When these thoughts are energized by joy, then you will be able to attract to yourself the people that you need, the things that you need, and so forth. I want to wrap up today's lecture with a title, Enjoyment of Peace. Enjoyment of peace. There are a lot of things that we enjoy. You see that we enjoy a good meal, we enjoy the companionship of certain people, we enjoy a car, we enjoy so many things in this world that we enjoy. And the Kemetic sage and the guru will tell you, do not put your joy into things of this world, because things of this world, you see, do not last forever. You see that? Meaning that, you see, everything of this world that you can put your joy into, okay, is subject to death. It's subject to limitations. That person that is so loving to you will die one day, could die suddenly. That thing that you love so much can get caught up in a fire, can be stolen, and so on. I'm not saying that you should not enjoy this and that. I'm saying do not put your maximum joy, your major joy, which you call happiness. Do not put it into things. And that's a mistake that people make. You see, they put their joy, their major joy in life, which you call happiness, in things. If I have this career, I'll be so happy. If I have this person, if I marry this person, I will be so happy. If I made so much money, I will be so happy. You go on. And then what happens, you're setting yourself up for pain. When you lose that thing, when it is gone, when it lets you down. You see that when that person lets you down, then you lose your joy. Your joy, God was so wise and so loving that joy, God put joy into your own hands. Your joy and your joyfulness is in your own hands. You see that? Okay? I'm not talking about the ability to have a joyful vision of getting something. Okay? When you are not at peace, you're suffering. You see, if you are a member of this modern, world, you have not been taught how to establish and maintain peace, you see, in the midst of the worst challenges. A few of us got to that place. God bless you. But the majority of the people in this world have not been taught how to be at peace no matter what they are experiencing. So if you're not one of those natural born person with the ability to be at peace in the midst of all challenges, then there's a word of power called Onhan Kashang. We're going to deal with that in some of our tutorials for you, which awakens what the Hindus call the Ajna chakra. You see, the Onhan Kashang faculty is awakened with awakens the Ajna chakra. The Ajna chakra, you see, is the prefrontal lobe of the brain, which is in charge of all your higher executive functions. And one of your highest executive function is to be able to be at peace in the midst of the most difficult challenges. And God has endowed every one of us with ability to be at peace and remain at peace no matter what is going on in the world. You see that? Okay? You were not made it, you're not put in this world to suffer. You see, all the suffering in the world is not, these are not triggered by the events that people claim is the reason for the suffering. The reason for your suffering is very simple. You were not taught how to be at peace. It's a whole science, ancient science, 1,000 years old, you see, and how to be at peace, you see. And we're going to talk about that ritual down the road. And we will touch on it next week when we come together, because it's that requires, action, spiritual action, and not theory. And once you learn to be at peace in the midst of challenges, then you will use the Heru mantra and the Heru, observances, techniques to make peace your most enjoyable. Make peace your most enjoyable manifestation in your life. You see, lots of us are working to manifest the money to get this, to manifest the relationship that we want, to manifest the healing that we need, not understanding that all of these things are subject to being destroyed, to a short life, and so on, so they can, turn you upside down. But peace, when you're at peace, you're not suffering. Peace is not suffering. But it's just necessarily being in a neutral state. You want to learn to enjoy being at peace as your highest goal in life. Be at peace no matter what is going on. You see that? You have to master, therefore, the keys of joy, the keys to joy. You see, and it certainly cannot be, from getting the things you want. You buy a house for $10 million, the house burns down, forest fire burns your house down. And because you live in the middle of the woods, the insurance company didn't want to cover that house for $10 million. You see that? The greatest goal in life is enjoyment of peace. When you're in a life of enjoying peace, in a life of perpetual energy, perpetual manifestation of the energy to attract to yourself the needs that the things that you need. Once you become happy as a result of spiritual cultivation, you can replenish your losses. You can replace what you lost with something else. You can always come back. You see that? You can always bounce back. But if you do not have the key to happiness and enjoy, which is the enjoyment, the perpetual enjoyment of perpetual peace, you see, the sensation of pleasure you know, is produced on the level of your organs, you know, your psychic organs. They get worn out. They get worn down. You see that? That dopamine that I spoke about, you can damage it by drinking too much alcohol, smoking tobacco, and other recreational drugs, and so on. And when you destroy and deplete the dopamine within you, you can have the most, beautiful thing in front of you, and you can enjoy it, because for you to enjoy anything of this world, your brain has to secrete the dopamine first. If the brain lacks the ability to secrete dopamine, then no matter what is in front of you, you cannot feel joy. Remember that. You see that. Okay? That's why many of you drink, to simulate the flow of dopamine in order to enjoy. I want you to stop and think about it, right? You go to a party. Why do people drink alcohol at a party? Because the alcohol makes the dopamine flow, and the dopamine makes you feel joy. The alcohol is not making you feel joy. The alcohol is making you secrete dopamine, and the dopamine makes you feel joyful. You see that? But eventually, drinking depletes that dopamine production, and you got to drink more and more and more and more till you are destroyed. But the peace, cultivated in the proper way, in a spiritual way, you see, does not depend on dopamine. It depends simply on the flow of the life force at the highest level within you. Let me say that. You have this life force within you on the highest level, on the highest mundane level is what the nuclear physicists, are calling, the name escapes me so far, but it is the nucleus, in the nucleus, of a molecule, of an atom, I should say. It's kind of getting to quantum. When we get to the quantum level, of energy, okay, then we are at that point where the energy is non-depleting. It's perpetually moving, and that is what we experience as joy. I mean, as happiness. Happiness is being peaceful when you don't have something, and enjoying the peace, though. I'm at peace, and I'm enjoying the peace. And when I get it, I'm also enjoying it. So I'm never out of joy. And that's when you do that, you set up a quantum flow of energy within your being. Many scientists, astrophysicists and so forth, are becoming aware that quantum energy has a lot to do with healing and a lot to do with your well-being and things of that nature. And the way they describe the quantum state of energy is meets what we call the Kameno in Kame, the Ogdoad. You see that? Meaning the four pairs of energy configuration that leads to perpetual movement. And that is what you see you're doing when you chant that Heru mantra. And one that we're going to use this time is Van Kling So. Dememeri Hur Hetet. That's the mantra that we're going to we're working with. Okay, don't worry about not knowing it now. We're going to fully explain it next week and immerse ourselves into it. But that mantra, along with the mantra for the faculty of peace, you see that, the Ong Han Kashang, will enable you to experience, that flow of energy that doesn't end. Flow of energy that does not end. That's what you want to work on. That's the goal of your spiritual quest, to get to that point, and you can begin it next week. We're talking about it now. You can begin to that energy flowing, and then every month you see, we will work on a different part of the spirit, and after a while, it might take some of you a year. It might take some of you 50 years. It's all up to you and what you brought into this world, and how intact your vehicle is. Unfortunately, many of us, by the time we come to spirituality, we have done some wickedness to our being. But do not fret, do not suffer, There's a lot of stuff here to fix everyone. That's what spirituality is about. The sight can be harmed, the physical body can be harmed, the mind can be harmed, but the spirit is above all things in this world. And this is what spirituality is: learning the 11 laws of the spirit so that you can fix whatever has been broken. So, enjoyment of peace is the name of this month's, Paut Neteru. Why are we working on the enjoyment of peace? Look around the neighborhood. What do you see? Lots of people are losing their jobs, losing their 401k and things of that nature and so on. There's a lot of fear and anger and things of that nature. But stop and think about it, my beloved. When you respond with fear, when you respond with anger, when you worry, when you grieve, go back and look up in Google, on the internet, and you find that every time that you indulge any of these negative emotions, you are suppressing the flow of positive neurotransmitters in your brain and your nervous system. So anger, fear, and worry and grief cannot be natural and normal and legitimate responses to difficulties. And if and when you learn to be at peace, it's a science. It's 2 + 3 = 4. Learn to be at peace no matter what is going on is, mixing 2 atoms of hydrogen with one of oxygen. Get water. Science. You learn to do the right thing, you do it, and you will be at peace because the hormones and the neurotransmitters will be flowing. You see that? And to enjoy the peace is a science. Strict things to do, A, B, C, and you will get to D. Plain and simple. So we want to teach you this month here, okay, as an introduction to our Paut Neteru. We cannot give it away for every month. We got bills to pay, we got mortgage to pay, and we also have to pay teachers because we want to bring this teachings all over the world, to every corner of the world, to everybody, black, white, Chinese, German, everybody. You see that wants it. Enjoyment of peace. Do not let your peace be stolen from you, because peace belongs to you and it depends on nothing that's happening in this world. God was very wise, very loving, and very careful, and put peace beyond the reach, you see, of, the things of this world. So, my beloved, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Wow. Go ahead, Shekhem. I've been fortunate to be with you for over 40 years now. And every time we talk about this, it's just so like fresh water. So yes, we have some time for some questions right now. So you can post your questions. And I know some of you have some testimonials you've already put in the chat that might help some of the many people who are with us now for the first time. We have 730 people in the webinar room that have showed up. Those who registered and were not able to make it for whatever reason, you will be able to view a recording of this, and all of you will get a recording of this in your membership portal, which I'll introduce to you after our Q&A. So while we're gathering up some questions, and it's important to put them in now so that I can see them at the bottom of the chat. If you have a question, Shekhem, I just want to start out with a couple of questions that may resonate with people. You mentioned peace. You spoke about perpetual enjoyment of perpetual peace. And so many of us are used to growing up in a culture where we equate peace with circumstance, like, leave me at peace, or, I just need peace in my life. And we're talking about, not having conflict. I just came home from a rough day of work and I wanted some peace. We use that word, and I don't think it's really what you're referring to. So how would you define, to those of us that are brand new, what is it that you're referring to as peace, and how do we approach being able to dwell in that state?
Peace is a state of not suffering. We know when we're suffering. We know when we're angry. We know when we're afraid. We know those feelings. Mm-hmm. We know the feeling of worry, of grief, and fear and anger. We know those feelings. That's what peace is not. You see that? Mm-hmm. If we're not suffering, we are at peace. You see that? But peace by itself is a neutral energy. You see? We're not revved up. We're not pulled down. That's why we have to learn to enjoy that state. So what we end up experiencing is joy. See, once you learn to enjoy being at peace, meaning, I'm joyful. Why? Because I lost $1 million and I'm not upset. And by being at peace and enjoying being at peace, I will find another $2 million to make up for the $1 million. And if I do not find it, I'm still joyful. Because you see, it's the fear and the anger. When you are experiencing anger, they call fear and anger and worry and grief and so on. That energy that you are experiencing is poisonous to your well-being. It's destroying your nervous system and your brain. You understand? It's shrinking your brain. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so on. Okay? Mm-hmm. Nobody ever died of peace, but they died of anger and fear.
And what about satisfaction, Shekum?
Well, those are all, transcendent things. If something satisfies you, at that moment you're experiencing an energy which will dissipate in time. Mm-hmm. You see? So if so it's like the song says, I can't get no satisfaction, and I try. But what happened is that, satisfaction is a pleasurable state that you get from getting something. Mm. No, be joyful to get satisfaction. You see that?
True. You also mentioned the dopamine and the serotonin and oxytocin. And you mentioned that we can come to the knowledge of truth, the knowledge of science and spirituality, after a rough road of self-abuse. So will there be things that you can offer for the dopamine depleted crowd, for those of us that have spent too many years, looking for peace in all the wrong places?
Well, in other words, when I said, you said the teaching that we're introducing today involve a lifestyle that goes along with it. It involves certain affirmations that you have to place into your mind and your psyche. Okay, it involves you meditating, every day, every night for at least 15 minutes with certain words of power, or hekau mantras that we call them. It involves a number of things that you have to do. And then over time, you will see results, We have members in society that came to the society, right? Came to our classes as drug addicts. You see that, as people who, had hurt themselves in many ways. You see that, were in, PTSD-like, environments, situations that gave them PTSD. A lot of our members, were in Vietnam veterans, Gulf War veterans, and they found, solace and healing in this meditation, you see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for example, to get more to your questions, if people Google is a very important tool. You see, it has lots of stuff there. But what I do know, I'm able to put information together in ways that people don't know how to put them together. You see that. But if you go to Google, you find that meditation what they call mindfulness meditation will help your body grow more gray cells and white cells. So, the fallacy that you were born with all the brain cells that you would ever need, and you cannot grow any more back. Meditations and with certain dietary supplements can help your brain put out new gray cells and white cells, more astros, glides, whatever they call them. So you can repair your brain. It's in the literature. Yes, and we don't know it because you see, we live in a world where people selling certain medical procedures. That's the vogue, right? Lots of money in that.
True.
Simply gonna meditate, for 10 minutes. I don't make any money. Telling you to do that. I want you to come and check out my new machine that can scan your brain in real time.
Right. Also, Shechem, you mentioned the enjoyment of peace and the Amen faculty. How does Heru, which is a focus for this particular month, in the committed guided meditation, which is the Paut Neteru meditation, we are focusing on Heru. So how does Heru enable us to achieve happiness?
Well, there's the joy. Right? Happiness is unending joy. Right? So the joy comes from Heru. Okay, the question is, what are you joyful about? I'm joyful over the fact that I'm at peace no matter what is going on in my life. I lost so-and-so, I'm about to lose so-and-so, and I'm not freaking out. I'm not afraid. I'm not worrying. I'm not grieving. I'm not angry. They said, I'm able to enjoy my life. They said, I'm able to enjoy eating. People, when they're upset, angry or whatever, they can't eat, right? They lose appetite. And eating disorder is part of, mental illness and so on. So Heru is that joy. You're able to keep enjoying everything in your life or just being at peace. The fact that you're not freaking out, you're not destroying your relationships because you lost something, All
right. So we're going to get to some of your questions. First, I just want to make sure everybody's clear on what is being offered. So every month there's a different aspect of our being or spirit, as we've been taught, and there's going to be 3 sessions. The first session is an introductory lesson, as what we're getting tonight, about the focus for the month. The second session is an actual guided meditation that we will prepare for by doing some assignments that will be given to you through some material that we're going to make available. And then the third session is going to be a sharing of results, of testimonials, and another opportunity for question and answer. So Shechem, before we take questions, can you explain just the idea behind the structure that we're going to be observing every month?
Well, 3 sessions, right? Before you meditate, you need to know how to meditate, right? You need to know, because in meditation, we just don't simply focus on something. We have to breathe a certain way. So, we will be teaching how to do that breathing. The document you're going to be sending them, right? People who are registered for that document, right? You will get instruction how to breathe. It's a lower abdominal breathing through the nostril, and you're going to chant the mantra, in sync with your breathing. So it's a document that will be sent to you, okay, explaining the mantra and how to breathe, with the mantra and so forth, as well as how to organize your space, meaning that, you don't want to you have to plan to be in a quiet place, clean place, no food odors at this time. I'd rather you not use any perfumes or oils, aromatic oils, right? There's a lot of things about aromatic oils that we have to understand. A lot of them are synthetic. you know, especially the most important one. Like the rose, for example, and it's very, very expensive, natural organic rose, you know, and the rose industry, they spray the rose to keep the bugs from eating them because they want to sell you the. So there are these observances. You see, if you're going to meditate, that's at 8 o'clock when we meet next, the 17th?
Yeah, the 17th, next Thursday, everybody.
Your last cup of coffee should be 12 midday because that coffee, would interfere with the depth and quality of your meditation. It should not, okay, your last meal should be at least 3 hours before the meditation. Your last meal should be 4:30, 5 o'clock. And if the blood is concentrated in your abdomen, digesting food, the brain will not get that, because, digestion takes priority over, meditation, because the body doesn't want the food to go bad on you. So, eat by no later than 4:30, 5 o'clock. Your last coffee is 12 midday. And start practicing doing that now so that you do not be feeling bad, next Wednesday, craving the coffee, having a coffee,
withdrawals. So I put up on the screen, particularly for those of you that are with us on our Facebook pages and on our YouTube channel, and also on our live on Instagram, if you look in the description, because those of you that registered and you're in the webinar room, welcome everybody. Welcome to those of you that just joined us. We've about 716 folks in there now. We already have your email address, so we will be using that to give you a membership, and I'll share that with you in a moment. And once you have that, you will be able to get access to the document that Shekma is talking about, and this is what it's going to look like for you. So it's going to give you the guides of the things that he's talking about in preparing for the meditation, some instruction on the breathing method, and also give you the mantra that we're going to be using and how to chant it, as well as the general observations and a list of some things that you want to consider to prepare yourself for the meditation. So all of that will be available to you when you register for the portal. Those of you that are on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, if you registered for this webinar session, then we already have your information and we will be sharing that with you. So let's go through the questions. All right. Yeah, we can remove that. All right, so we have Shekem Sakepara from Philadelphia, and she says, Dwau, which means thank you, Shekem. Would you speak about the power of the smile and the production of dopamine and other neurotransmitters?
Well, I said in the lecture here, visualize your person, for example, enjoying achieving your goal, right? So when you're enjoying something, what are you doing? You're smiling, you're laughing, And science has discovered that, when you smile and laugh, the body's secreting, these neurotransmitters that increase your mood, increase the flow of your life force, heal your body. You see that? And when you have an abundance of life force flowing through you, you're able to achieve your goals. You see that? In other words, the school of success says you cultivate, positive thoughts. That is one of 6 power things that you need to do in order to use your mind as a tool to achieve your goals. So smile. You see? And even if you don't have even if you don't have any reason to smile, you see, close your eyes, see yourself smiling, and smile, and your body will automatically begin to secrete these chemicals that will help you on your life force and so on. Look it up in Google. Google it. You know, go to Google, the professional side of Google. You know, Google Scholar, right? Look it up inside you and you'll find that smiling and laughing, even if you don't have a reason, will make your brain secrete powerful, energies that you know, once you take into trance through meditation, then the meditation will increase by a factor of 10 or 100 what you're trying to achieve. And that will bring you so-called magically attract to you the people and the resources you need to achieve your goals.
Thank you for that question. We have Gorvik Karnani, who says, and maybe this is a Heru question, talking about marriage, says that it is said that marriages are made in heaven, and somebody, whoever's meant for me, comes to you. So if somebody is meant for me, example, person B, and if I keep manifesting for person A, will the meant person become unmeant through manifestation? Okay.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of assumptions here, right? Marriage are made in heaven. That's somebody's opinion. You know, that construct belongs to somebody. I don't take ownership over that. And I'm not going to try to defend it. Because the reality is that some marriages in this world were made in hell. Others were made in heaven. So I think if you start off in the proper venue, your chances of having a good marriage will be increased. You know.
So we have Cypher L7 who says, greetings, Shechem Shechem. Thank you for the most powerful system on the planet right now. You have helped me in more ways than I can count. Someone has a Medunitaire Oracle question. I don't know if that would be in order. Let's see.
Not in this session here.
Right. And we have Michelle Reed who says, the teachings of Ra Un Nefer Amen has saved my life, mental well-being, and kept me and my children together in a better state that I prefer rather than the alternative I was in for over 2 decades ago, for which I am grateful. And let's see here. We have Delo, who says, I am confident that this meditation process is up there with transcendental meditation and possibly a more enlightened practice of meditation. Any comment on transcendental meditation, how it relates to what we're doing?
Well, TM, you get a mantra that's supposed to be your special mantra. You know, as far as I know from people who did TM, I did not do TM. I don't know too much in depth on TM. So I'd rather not comment as to where TM is and is not. You know, I think what people need to do is to sit down and look at the system, each system, and make up their own mind. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. We have a Basra who says, what powers do we earn when we attain peace and nirvikalpa samadhi, thus experiencing union with God for that brief moment? And is there a higher level of peace beyond that?
Can you read it again? Because it's not clear as to beyond what? What is the level? How's it being described?
Is saying we attain peace and nirvikalpa samadhi. I guess it means sarvikalpa. Thus experiencing union with God for that brief moment. And is there a higher peace beyond that? So it seems
okay. Sarvikalpa means that the experience of time is abolished. There's no sequential movement. There's no moving from here to there, meaning that now you're everywhere, right? Okay, you're when you achieve a samadhi, what we call the Sarvikalpa Samadhi, right? You are in a state of being where there is the reality of time is abolished, because you are now in a totally right brain, situation here. Now the union with that means union with God is a questionable thing. It all depends on the meditator. It's a union with God occurs when when the meditator is conscious of being conscious and nothing else. Right? You're no longer conscious of anything, but you're conscious of being conscious. You see that? All right. And since God is the universal consciousness, you're also conscious of God as the universal consciousness. But you experience the consciousness of God as you being conscious with consciousness. So the thing is that, that is something that, has challenged many gurus, and you find that hardly any gurus try to experience Sarvakapa Nirvana beyond, saying, well, it's union with God. You see? No, he says, is there a higher peace? You follow what I'm saying? Okay? And from the Kabbalistic point of view here, being able to maintain yourself in peace in all situations and enjoy that state of peace is the highest manifestation of peace. Yes, sir. And because the thing with that the young man is quoting here, is Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. You see that? And the thing is that Patanjali Yoga Sutras did not lead the world into spiritual, power. You see that? Because it was one of, pulling back and pulling back in. But the purpose of spirituality is to go out into the world and act and live and teach and help others to live and achieve. You understand that?
Too.
That's why you find many gurus gave up their families, gave up society and went, as mendicants throughout the world. That is not the model that most people, would be working with. You see, and there's no need for it because we have the power to live in this world, no matter what is going on in it. So go on, master your spirit and go on and live, and teach others to do the same.
We have a Akita Mu, Shepsu Stampley, who says, working in a prison where the temperature or the energy of the environment shifts quite often and quickly, like today's assignment. First thing I notice when I'm out of order mentally, emotionally, and spiritually is my breathing, thoughts, and the images I dwell on. So immediately I correct my breathing, then chanting and smiling while visualizing the environment and people in peace and light. The breathing alone immediately taps back into vigilant awareness without the stress response.
Kudos, wonderful. Yeah, that's a guru talking there.
Yeah.
It's an answer to the question that preceded it.
Too.
You see that? Meaning that being at peace is an active tool, not something, you get quiet and you withdraw from the world. No, that's not what you need, because God is the world. God is, Paul says, is what comes to you as the world.
So Egina says, I have tried to live a clean life, but I have attached my happiness to those I love. When disappointed by loved ones, I have suffered pain and loss of peace. I'm trying to live on a higher emotional state, but it is challenging.
Well, that's what that's what I said today here. In other words, what we have to teach the young lady, right? It's a young lady, correct?
Yes.
She has to learn not to be at peace. When her family members, do not live up to whatever standards or whatever, and enjoy that state. You see that? Okay? She has to have a meditation where she sees herself, calm, smiling, reciting the affirmations, the spiritual truisms, and then seeing herself smiling and laughing inwardly when, the people around her, the mark. Why? Because they didn't know, nobody taught them to be spiritual. That's why they're behaving the way they are. You see that? And since you haven't mastered the peace also, then be compassionate and understand that mea culpa as well. So master the peace, enjoy the peace, and you will find that you will be able to help to change the people around you that you're living with.
So Shechem, on that note, many people think of meditation as just trying to make the mind blank or trying to relax, where you've introduced something called the meditation script. Is that going to play a role in the meditations that people will be receiving
every month people will get scripts to meditate with? You see that? Meditation, where you're quiet and things of the nature, is a misunderstanding from Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras. The Yoga Sutras begin by saying that when the mental engine that generates thoughts and feelings is suppressed, then there's union with God. Yeah. So that left people, were meditating to suppress or transcend and ignore the generation of thoughts in their mind. But what happens then is that you are at a state where you're not cultivating knowledge of yourself and your environment and contributing to the world. That's why India, with all this gurus and yoga and so forth, is not the capital of spirituality.
Too. So we have some questions about how they're going to get the document and how to prepare for the meditation. So let me just take a moment and introduce everyone to our Committed Guided Meditation portal. And this is how you're going to access the information, as well as how you're going to be able to enter the meditation next Thursday. So let's see if we can get this to cooperate. All right. So this is what your site is going to look like. In order for you to log in, let me see here. I don't think that's the right one. So yes, first this. In order for you to log in, you're going to have to go to that URL that I sent you. It's particularly if you are on YouTube, Instagram, or on our Facebook page. Go to the URL that I put up, and you'll see a registration form that says Committed Guided Meditations. You're just going to put your name and your address, your email address in there, and then let's see if we can move to the next one. You'll be invited to a portal, and you'll have to create a login. You'll have a temporary password. You'll be invited to a portal. Okay, and this is our site. So here you're going to get a recording of this meeting that we've had today, and also a little summary. And then you're also going to be able to download the preparatory workbook by clicking the link here inside of your portal. There's also more information about what Committed Guided Meditation is. And this button right here is what you'll click next Thursday at 8 p.m., not before that, to go into a private Zoom meditation for those who have registered and participate. And the structure of our 3 sessions per month is here explained. All right. And more information about the system and how to prepare. So again, you're going to need to go to bit.ly/Comedic Guided Meditation Portal and enter your email address and name, and then you will receive an email. Make sure you check your spam if you don't see it, because it's probably the first time you're getting an email from that address, and you'll have a username and a password and be able to log in, download your workbook, in preparation, and also get access to the other materials I just showed. All right, so let us see if there are any more questions. And yes, Light Beamer Collective says, I work in education. They're on our YouTube channel. And hearing about the proposed budget cuts and changes to education really calls on me to tap into my peace. And we have Tum Amun, who says, I've just stumbled onto your books and would like to thank you. May the ancestors increase you. My question is, have you ever come into contact with Dr. York and the Nuwapian Egyptian teachings?
I have not come into contact with Dr. York. I've heard a lot about him, but we never crossed paths.
Okay, there was another question, Shechem, that I'm not finding now, but the person spoke about ancestors, about the ancestors, and do the ancestors or the understanding of ancestors play a role in Kemetic spirituality?
Yes, it does, very much so, but we're not going to be able to get into that, at this juncture. But, ancestors play a major role in every spiritual tradition around the world.
Mm-hmm. And we have Ankra Shem, who says, testimonial, Shechem, I'm still in a nursing home, but I am totally at peace. Even though I haven't grown my legs back. The union with God format, along with your other life-giving teachings that I have been blessed to embrace in this nursing home, from nurses to CTO aides to the residents and to the residents, are seeking out and want to know what my spiritual beliefs are. And I find them to be sincere. I never miss a day from my meditations. Wow, my King.
Thank you very much.
And we have another person on our YouTube channel says, that's TN, says, I'm so blessed and empowered every time I attend your teachings. I did the Winter Solstice program and have been able to stay at peace during challenging times. I find joy regardless of what I have or have not. And T says, will fasting during meditation make a significant difference?
Fasting is something that needs to be revisited, whenever, because some people, okay, when you fast, your body releases a lot of toxins. You see that? And some people have accumulated certain toxins that should not be released, too quickly or too much at one time. And that's not something, there's no knowledge on how to do that or how to recommend doing it and so on. So that's something that, each person will have to discover their level tolerance for fasting and how it makes them feel and things of that nature. But on the other hand, also the benefits of meditation comes from daily meditations for life. That's not something you can do, so yeah, if you're going to fast to assist your meditations, you will have to establish the proper structure and understanding of what's behind that structure, and so on. You see that?
Mhm.
If finally, fasting by itself, is not a panacea for healing. You see that? So you have to understand, what you're fasting for, and what supplements and herbs and medications you will need to take along with that process. You see that? And especially if you're fasting with the fasting information that was around in the mid 20th, the early 20th century. You know, in the old days when fasting was a big thing, and colonics and all of that. I think you need to revisit more modern science, on fasting and colonics and so-called detoxification and so on, because a lot of the fasting by itself is a good thing, but a lot of information how to do it and do it correctly, lacks scientific, grounding.
Mhm. And we have Mrs. K who says, can healing energies be sent to another person?
Absolutely. In other words, if you see somebody that needs help, and you're gonna help them physically, but if you put yourself in a peaceful, joyful state of being, you see that, and visualize that person sharing in your energy, then you would transfer the energy that way. You see that?
All right. We have a lot of appreciation, Shekim, for the teachings. And let's see. And here we have a testimonial from Desmond, who says, I have used the Om Tam meditation to heal my mother's foot. She wanted to know if all the meditations that I've been doing over the past decade or so were worth her son's time. So I went home, put on the CD, and started to meditate. I visualized brilliant white Ankh on her foot, and she actually felt the peaceful energy that I was feeling while meditating.
There you go. It's interesting how a question comes up and answers the question that came before.
Right.
Even
Okay.
Om Tam is an Auset, so-called Isis, is an Auset mantra for healing. It's one of our major healing mantras. Auset Om Tam.
And Yadeo Soon asks, having access tonight, does that mean be connected for the next week's session? If you came in through the webinar room, which you did, then we already have your email address. But I would go to that address and register anyway, because our platform has to approve your email address. So it could, create a blockage there. So just go ahead and register for at the site that I gave you, and you should immediately get an invitation to the portal. Let's see. Okay, so now that was an answer to a question, and I think that's good. What if someone visualizes something? Okay, Orma says, what if someone is visualizing something that is in direct contradiction to that which is their destiny?
They're visualizing getting something or having something that contradicts their destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before I answer that question, I would like to know, I'd like to make sure that we'll tell the person to make sure that they have a good understanding of what they believe is pointing to the destiny, Because if they're wrong, they could be doing a lot of damage to their lives. You see that? You know, really, you know, what is it? I believe there's some oracle reading. You see that's telling them this is your destiny, but that has to be understood very clearly. You see, if you have an oracle reading telling you that so and so your destiny, the solution to that problem is within that reading itself. You see that? Okay, and so, and if you understand your destiny, then you should know what, and if it's correct, you should know what to work on and what not to work on. And, you know, because your destiny will not stop you, you know, from having a fulfilling life. You see that? So this person would need a real expert, you know, explanation of the oracle reading for the destiny. What is Ifa or I Ching, Medunatary Oracle, and so on.
Okay, well, Shekim, we're about up against the hour, so I'll leave you to with your final instructions. I can put up the document behind you if you'd like, where you speak about the list that you want people to work on to prepare for next Thursday.
Well, I thought you're gonna send it to them, right? Or they're gonna get it when they sign up.
Send it to them.
So let that be, you know.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. So I'd like to sign off by saying repeating the title, Enjoyment of Peace. You know, the enjoyment of peace must become, you know, your highest pleasure. It doesn't stop you from enjoying other things, but make the ultimate and the highest enjoyment that of peace, because that's you know, peace is, once you master peace, you have it forever. And if your major enjoyment is that of that peace, then you have that joy forever as well. And that's the master key to happiness. You see? Because people lose their joy, they lose the peace, and they lose the joy. You see? Because to be not at peace is to be not in a state of joy. And where there's no joy, there's no energy to push your thoughts to psychically manifest your dreams.
All right. Well, on behalf of all of these folks gathered here, I want to give thanks and just try to express all of this appreciation that we see in the chat for your tireless work, Shekim, and for this great opportunity for us to now take this process of committed guided meditation, Paut Neteru meditation, throughout the world through this new program. So we will see everybody on Thursday night. That's going to be April 17th at 8 p.m. We will be on Zoom, and you're going to need to access through your portal. So we look forward to seeing everyone there. Anecharak Shekim.
Okay.
Power.
Available to everyone.
Higher consciousness. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher. The time's come for me to change the way I think, to change the way I feel, for me to go beyond what everybody thinks, what everybody says is real. Today I take a step into a time and space of peace and possibility, and here I'm gonna stay until I find my place, my true divinity. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. Let's go higher, come on, in our consciousness. Let's go higher. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step and one idea. I'm moving on, not knowing what is coming next. I'm getting close, I'm getting near to a part of me that touches everything, uniting all reality. I'm the middle between what earth and heaven brings. I am the I am the we. Yeah. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Ooh, yeah. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. I'm on my way. Let's go higher. I'm going today. Consciousness. Yeah. Let's go higher. I'm gonna touch the sky with my mind, holding tight. Clouds passing by, clouds passing by. I'm gonna touch the stars. It's not very far. There is no limit to how high I can fly. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Come on, let's go higher. You can go if you want to. Let's go higher. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Higher consciousness. Oh, yeah. Let's go higher. It only takes one step, one idea. Let's go higher. Let's go higher. Let's go. Let's go higher. Let's go higher. And higher. In our consciousness. Let's go higher. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher. Now is the time. Consciousness. This is the place. Let's go higher for us to higher consciousness. Let's go higher. Let's change. Let's rearrange. Let's go higher. All of the things that need to be transformed. Let's go higher. The world now consciousness is no longer against.